territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
You're almost through the workday. Welcome to 3:30 in the BCIT newsroom. I'm Aiden Singh. Here's today's top headlines. Prime Minister Mark Carney in his Major Projects Office has finally announced 7 new infrastructure projects in consideration for federal dollars and federal scissors to cut through red tape. The announcement took place in small-town Terrace, situated just a few hours away from the Khaslim's LNG project, a new addition to the list. Carney thinks increasing natural resource extraction is critical to realizing Canada's economic potential and staving off American tariffs.
Let me start with our position as an energy superpower. We're starting to realize our full potential in both conventional, i.e. oil and gas, and clean energies. LNG is an essential fuel for the energy transition. LNG can help Canada build new trading relationships, especially in fast-growing markets in Asia.
Carney says getting shovels into the ground is crucial, as American tariffs threaten 1.8% of Canadian GDP, some $50 billion in lost economic activity. Carney and the Major Projects Office stayed on the offensive in BC, with another project in the remote northwest in consideration for fast-track and permits. The North Coast Transmission Line project plans on running 450 kilometers of power lines, linking Prince George and Terrace to the new LNG project. The federal government claims the projects combined have the potential to spur $14 billion in new economic activity. Another big move coming from the energy side of the West, as Cenovus completed the acquisition of competitor MEG Energy. Industry insiders say MEG didn't come cheap, as Cenovus copped up more than $8 billion for their assets. This also increases their capacity by around 110,000 barrels of oil per day. The takeover puts the squeeze on competitors Imperial Oil and Canadian Natural Resources as the market tightens up. Manitobans may face the polls earlier than expected, as Premier Wab Kinew hints that he's open to an election before the next scheduled date in 2027. Kinew says that the Conservative opposition almost drove him to call one over a public safety bill, which passed in early November.
I was pretty close on Bill 48 when the PCs were playing games. If they mess around with your public safety or your health care, yeah, I could see a scenario where we just go to the people and say, you tell us, do you guys want politicians to play games or do you want us to focus on what matters, which is health care and affordability?
Kinew's New Democrats are just over 2 years into their mandate. Almost 5,000 new patient complaints were filed to Ontario's Patient Ombudsman Office over the last year. Ontario Patient Ombudsman Craig Thompson says his office completed a record number of 6 investigations.
The investigation we did around the delay in a cancer diagnosis is one that really spoke to me. It's something that you would hope would never happen to anybody. The idea of test results not being communicated, the idea that someone then had to suffer.
The report also shows that many patients don't feel heard, and some left the emergency room prematurely without follow-up. A new University of British Columbia study shows BC women have strong access to abortion medication, but some gaps still remain. Research shows 2/3 of women seeking prescription could have it within 3 days, the accepted medical time frame for the pills to be effective. However, the issue lies in referrals. Some pharmacies who are unable to fill prescriptions are likely to suggest other locations, which themselves may not carry it. Dr. Laura Schumers says this causes stress for women already under tremendous pressure.
So if a pharmacist doesn't have a medication in stock or is unable to prescribe that medication, to dispense that medication, what does it mean to give a patient an appropriate referral, and be really specific about that so that patients are not sort of stuck calling around. And that's what we found in the study, was that in some areas, the patients were more likely to be calling a pharmacy and being told, no, we just don't have it. I don't know, try somewhere else.
Data shows that some individuals were forced to call up to 5 different pharmacies before finding the necessary pills. Looking at all of Canada now, one pollster says the federal Liberals will have to show they mean business on major projects to maintain broad support from across the country. Leze polling released this week shows last week's Liberal budget managed to secure support for its infrastructure plans from traditionally conservative areas of the country, such as Alberta. Pollster Andrew N. says Prime Minister Mark Carney's first budget created some goodwill with Albertans for the focus on the nation-building projects as well as economic growth. He warns the Liberals will need to move quickly to keep hold of that newfound support.
But there's also a desire to see at least progress, at least these things starting to begin. I mean, major projects. Can we show progress on some of these, within a year?
Carney unveiled 7 new major projects up for consideration during his stop in Terrace today. Tesla is recalling over 10,000 Powerwall battery units due to a fire hazard. ABC's Alex Stones has more on the story.
The new recall involves 22 reports of Tesla Powerwalls overheating. 6 of those included smoke and 5 involved fire, which also resulted in minor property damage. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says a lithium-ion battery cells in certain Powerwall 2 systems can cause the units to stop functioning properly during normal use, resulting in overheating. Owners of Powerwall 2s are told to check their Tesla app to see if their unit is being recalled. Tesla is remotely disabling energy from the included battery units to prevent them from operating and overheating until a replacement is installed. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Israel says militants have handed over one of the last 4 remaining hostages taken during the October 7th, 2023 attack that kickstarted the war in Gaza. Since the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas began on October 10th, the remains of 25 hostages have been returned to Israel. Another 3 must still be recovered and returned under the terms of the ceasefire agreement. The Gaza Health Ministry said the total number of remains received so far is 315. Now zooming back in, although Vancouver has many art galleries, there's only one photography gallery in the whole city. Gallery 881 is tucked away in the Strathcona neighborhood, giving local photographers a chance to showcase their work. Emma Bolsner, reporter for BCIT News, learns more about the gallery and the inspiration behind it.
Gallery 881 is bringing the Vancouver community together. Last week, the gallery's new opening exhibition was a hit, filled with music, liveliness, and people of all ages. Owner John Goldsmith shares what keeps him going in Vancouver's art scene.
You realize the power that these visual images have, and other art forms just don't have that reach. I'm making a stand in Vancouver with the gallery and hoping that people continue to recognize photography as a really not only valid art form, but an important art form.
The gallery's newest exhibit, Nepantla, will be on until November 29th. Emma Bolsner, BCIT News.
Moving on now to sports. AFC Toronto and the Vancouver Rise meet Saturday to decide the inaugural Northern Super League Championship. Toronto coach Marko Milanovic says he can't wait for the game at BMO Field.
We're making history here. It's history of women's soccer, women's sports in Canada. We're so excited to be in the final. Vancouver got a chance to play in the first game also, and they got a chance to play in the last, so that's really special for them. But we're excited. It's in our city, and I would hope that the game is today, but we have to wait 2 more days.
Toronto finished atop the 6-team league during the regular season, while Vancouver finished a close third. 2 pitchers with the Cleveland Guardians are accused of purposely throwing bad pitches in order to get a cut of the profits made off of sports betting. Emmanuel Clase, who is considered one of the best closers in baseball, allegedly threw balls instead of strikes, leading to sports bettors getting a bigger payout. His teammate, Luis Ortiz, pleaded not guilty yesterday. Clase is due in court today. Here's more from ABC's Aaron Katarski, outside court in Brooklyn, New York.
Attorneys for both players have said both of them are innocent, but the case has already prompted Major League Baseball to cap micro bets on whether pitches are balls or strikes or will exceed a certain velocity at $200 per wager. The idea is to reduce the incentive to cheat by reducing the amount of potential winnings.
Basketball's All-Star Game in February will contrast patriotic and international pride in a first for the sport. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
The NBA has announced a new format for this season's All-Star Game, featuring a U.S. versus the world theme. Teams will consist of American and international players, with a mix of voting and selection processes. The game will be a round-robin tournament held on Saturday, February 15th in Inglewood, California. The NBA hopes this format will reignite interest in the mid-season event and aims for a more competitive and engaging All-Star experience. The game will coincide with the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics, tapping into global national pride. I'm Gethin Coolball.
Looking now at football, the New England Patriots will host the New York Jets in a divisional matchup. Vegas has the Jets as 14-point underdogs, and it's not hard to see why. The 8-2 Patriots have been rolling behind a strong defense, and Drake May leading a surprisingly effective offense, topping the AFC East. The 2-7 Jets are looking up from the opposite position. 2025 opened for them with 7 straight losses. Game starts at 5:30. As for the weather, it's cloudy right now, with highs of 10 and lows of 6 tonight. The rainfall warning has shifted north slightly, with Environment Canada now asking drivers on the Sea to Sky Highway to be aware of low visibility potential hydroplaning. Thanks for listening to BCIT's News. I'm Aiden Singh.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.